Good day, learners. My name is Dimporampora, and today's lesson is on the stratosphere, the mesosphere, and the thermosphere. Now, did you know that weather balloons send information on the temperature and wind? Well, in today's lesson, we are going to be exploring the different layers of the atmosphere. Now, by the end of this lesson, you need to be able to identify the layers of the atmosphere, name the boundaries between the layers, and explain how the ultraviolet radiation protects life on Earth, and describe how the Earth benefits from the thermosphere. Now, in order for us to achieve our lesson objectives, the following are the concepts that we are going to be looking at. 1, we are going to be looking at layers of the atmosphere. 2, the stratosphere. 3, the mesosphere. And 4, the thermosphere. Now, you should know the 4 spheres of the Earth, the different types of gases in the atmosphere. You should also know the difference between the atmospheric pressure at sea level and at high altitude. Now, let us test your prior knowledge. Now, let's look at question 1 of our prior knowledge, which says, name the 4 layers of the atmosphere, okay? Remember, the 4 layers of the atmosphere, the first layer, just on top of the surface of the Earth, is called the troposphere. That is our first layer. Right above the troposphere, we have our stratosphere. And then right above the stratosphere, we have our mesosphere. And the last layer is our thermosphere. Okay. Now, these are the 4 layers of the atmosphere. Now, let's look at the next question, which is question 2. Oops. Let me quickly erase that so that you can be able to see my question. I'll write it on the side. We said we also have the mesosphere here. And then we said we also have the thermosphere. Okay, now let's look at question 2. It says, name the gases found in the atmosphere. Okay, in the atmosphere, we find gases like carbon dioxide. We also find oxygen gas. We also find our nitrogen gas, and argon. Okay, and all these gases come with different percentages. Okay. Now, let's go to the next question, which is supposed to be question 3. Our question 3 says to us, name the force that stops gases from floating into space. If you remember, we said the force of gravity is the one that stops the gases from floating into space because it pulls everything downwards. Okay? Let's move on to the next question, which is question 4. It says, explain how atmospheric pressure becomes low. Okay? Now, how does our atmospheric pressure become low? It becomes low when there is higher altitude. Okay? The higher the altitude, the more we increase the distance from the surface of the Earth. So the distance from the surface of the Earth, that's what will increase. Okay? So as you go high up a mountain, you are increasing the distance from the surface of the Earth, and you are also increasing altitude. Now, what happens when you increase altitude? Then we are decreasing the density of gas molecules. And remember, as the density of gas molecules decreases, that means we are going to have less oxygen in the atmosphere, less oxygen. And then once we have less oxygen, then our atmospheric pressure, we say that it becomes low. So we will write lower, okay, I write correctly here, lower it's lower atmospheric pressure. Okay. Now this is how the atmospheric pressure becomes low. It becomes low when you increase the altitude, the distance from the surface of the earth also increases, then the density of the gas molecules decreases, and then we have less oxygen in the atmosphere, then we say that the atmospheric pressure is low. Okay, I hope we are still together there. Let's move on. Now that we are done with our prior knowledge activity, let us look at our vocabulary that is going to help us understand the concepts better. Now we are going to look at the stratosphere. It is the second layer of the atmosphere from the Earth's surface. The mesosphere, it is the third layer of the atmosphere from the surface of the Earth. Then the thermosphere, it is the fourth layer of the atmosphere from the surface of the earth. You must be wondering, where is the first layer? Remember, the first layer of the atmosphere from the surface of the earth is called the troposphere. Okay? Now we look at the other definition, which is the tropopause. The tropopause, it is the boundary between the troposphere and the stratosphere. The stratopause, it is a boundary between the stratosphere and the mesosphere. And the mesopause, it is the boundary between the mesosphere and the thermosphere. Okay, and then now that we are done understanding our vocabulary, we are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we will look at the different concepts that we are going to be looking at in terms of the atmosphere as well as the different layers of the atmosphere.